everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. So today I am actually not doing journal stuff. I'm actually going to be working on making some embellishments for yarn, but I thought I would just maybe turn on the camera and show you a bit of work that I'm doing, just because it's like, why not? And I figure you could craft along with me and we could chat away. Yeah, but I also wanted to show you the journal that I have gotten started on. I've been working on the restoration of this beautiful book. It is from 1869. It's Montaigne's Essays. I love the charm and character of this book. The cover is just, it's beautiful, and I had to completely restore this whole spine. It was actually completely cracked in half in this jig-jaggedy kind of situation, but I have fixed it, and I don't even think you can see the original line, so I'm happy about that. And I also just love that there's a little bit that's worn, and I've sealed the whole thing. The back of it is all embossed, and it's beautiful. It also has this mark that looks like at some point it took some force very hard in this direction. Potentially it got wet in the corner at some point very long time ago. But now it's hard to explain. Like, it's not soft in any way. It's not bendable. It's very hard. So this is now just this sort of charming wave in the book's cloth, you know, on the outside, which is very hard and leathery feeling. So I've just really secured it down. It's still in its ugly stage right now. You're not going to see any of this except for this itty bit of lace that's going to pop out that I haven't even trimmed yet. I'm going to, you know, really neaten that up. But that's where I'm going with this. And so far I'm feeling this sort of like navy and roses sort of tones with like a bit of a darker secret kind of fairy tale sort of story. So I'm just getting started on a few signatures. I don't know that I'm going to keep all the pages that you're seeing right now. I always shuffle this around several times before I make my final decisions, but I do have some fun ideas in mind. Yeah, so that's what I'm working on journal-wise, and I have a couple other things in mind. I'm also working on the second of the Impressionism journals, and so I've got I had a lot of fun making the inside cover of this one. I just really used some fun fabrics and stuff. So I've got one of the signatures, oh no, both of them now. I've got both of them in there. I just now need to start making ephemera and putting it all together. So yeah, that is journal-wise what's happening. I also have a really fun plan that I bought some supplies for my next design team project that I'm going to start actively working on. But yeah, that's journal stuff. So now I am going to just set that aside and make embellishments. So if you're not into stitching or yarn or any of those kind of, you know, art mediums, that's okay, because you could use some of what I'm doing here to maybe make journal clusters or spine dangles. So what I'm doing now, I just have all these silk flowers, leaves rather, and I'm tearing the plastic backings off. I'm making today some little, these are Teeswater sheep's locks that I've dyed this beautiful pink, and I've managed to, I think, pick 90% of the little plant bits out of these locks. These were some active little sheepies, and they like to pick up all sorts of little bits and pieces, so you really got to go through before you try to spin this up and make sure that all the little plant bits are out. But I'm really happy with this fiber. I love it. It's really pretty, and it's it dyed beautifully. So yeah, look at those gentle little crimps and curls. They're so fun. So anyways, today is extremely snowy and very cold. I would like to get out to the art store and maybe to the thrift store, and maybe even go tobogganing with my kiddos. I got the most ridiculously cool snowsuit. Oh my gosh. It's I shouldn't even be telling you this. You're going to be like, what kind of weirdo are we watching? But it's like an adult size pink metallic one-piece snowsuit that has like those ridges on the back like a dinosaur, and on the arms as well, so it's like a big pink dinosaur snowsuit. And I'm pretty sure my husband is not that chuffed, but it's okay. He's used to my child's heart. Okay, so I've got this floss that's just been hanging around on my desk, so I'm going to use that to do the stitching that I want to do today. But yeah, if you're interested in looking for this snowsuit, it's on a website called Dolls Kill. So just look up like Dolls Kill, all one word, pink metallic snowsuit, and you will find it. Just Google that. I figure if you can't have fun, what's the point, right? And you're tobogganing, like it's like, let's have fun. And I also, it's a little less expensive than a lot of snowsuits that I see at places like Sale and, you know, all these different outerwear kind of places. And so it's like, hey, why not? So what I'm going to do is just grab a little bitsy of this and just kind of roll it around in my hands a little bit until I've made sort of a little floret. Then I want to take the piece of fabric that I also have here. This is just some silk that I was using on the inside of a journal cover. And I also want to use a leaf, and I want to like put these all together to make kind of this cluster of fun. And I think what I might do actually is rip this in half to make it even more raggedy. Oh my, I moved my Ort to the other side of my desk. I'm all confused right now. Take all the strings off. Silk loves to fray, of course. It's just one of those behaviors that it has. And I don't want to iron this, so I'm just going to kind of give it a rub. There we go. So then I'll just sort of crisscross applesauce these guys. And then plop your leaf on here as well. Lay that there. And you're just making like a little assemblage of how you think this would look, like a fun little floral component. And then what I do is just stab into the back. I lay my big needle right on the table, and it does all the work for me, pushing it through. And then I just come back through. And even if you manage to get your threads all frayed up here, it's not even a big deal because you're using such a nice color that will go with the whole thing. So there we go. So probably stitch through about 3 times, just like a back and forth kind of whippy stitch. It's not important at all. Okay. I need to do this about 8 times, so I'm just going to chit chat and do this. I'm feeling a lot like I just need a little bit of what's the word? Just sort of distraction and stress relief from the world at hand right now. I'm very, very sad and concerned about the state of Ukraine and this attack from Russia. Very upset about it. I have one of my best friends is from Ukraine, and he is a wonderful person, and his family is there. And it's a very hard situation because, and I don't purport to be an expert, but what I absolutely do purport is that this is wrong. War is not an answer. Ukraine is a democratic society that Russia has no right to whatsoever. And this is absolutely cooked up in the mind of someone who's very, very dangerous and unhealthy for the whole world. And I don't like to talk politics here on my channel, but I feel like the lives and the safety of people we love, that's not politics. So all that being said, I'm very worried about it, and I don't want anyone to get hurt. So I'm really hoping that somebody can step in and put an end to all of this in a way that is going to be a little bit more permanent than in the past, and that, you know, sometimes certain things just have to transpire, I think, to make the world a better place. And I hope that that's the kind of action that we see soon, because people don't have time for a whole lot of chatting about it, and sanctions only unfortunately go so far. And I was given a lot of perspective, not that I needed it, but I'm glad that it was given to me about what are sanctions going to do when my family are being attacked in the street. And I couldn't agree more. I most definitely hope that our world starts to become more involved with each other and less sort of self-satiated, and that we start to look at places like Yemen and Burma and Syria and many other places that are in the same kinds of situations. They just really need our help. And I think the fact that we have even one billionaire on this planet when all that's going on is somehow wrong. You know, as a whole race of people, it's just not right. But yeah, this is just the stuff that's floating around in my head, so that's what's happening today. You know, I can't really just pretend like I'm in this artsy bliss today. It's a lot of stuff to process, and I think that we should actually talk about these things more. I know it's nice to kind of escape to a place, you know, with your creative friends and your creative ideas, and it's really nice to escape to that, but I think also there's some reflection that not everyone can do that. So but yeah, also today I am just kind of hoping that the weather gets a little bit nicer here. I would like to just kind of get outside and breathe in some fresh air and cool air and just kind of watch the squirrels twitter around. I think that might be nice. I'm slowly trying to build a little hoard of, well, a big hoard really of yarns, because I need to have them ready for my upcoming show in March. And I touched base with a shop that carries my yarn in Toronto to find out if they still had any of my yarn hanging around, thinking they probably would, because I thought, you know, during this whole pandemic, I don't know if everybody's really been shopping, and if they have they been buying yarn? I don't know. Like, I haven't been, you know, to a lot of yarn shops or any kind of stuff like that, so I have no clue what's going on. But she informed me, which was lovely, that she actually only has one sad little skein of hand spun left. And so she would like a restock of yarn. So now I'm curious what sad little yarn is left. I'll probably use it myself. It's probably something that was a weird conceptual piece of work that I made that has something weird in it. But actually, a lot of the time she sells most of those yarns, the ones that are just kind of Cindy's strange brain, because there's a lot of people that are in the fashion industry that go to her shop, and I've actually gained a lot of like very couture type clientele from working with her and my yarn being in her store. I have created an entire hoard of yarns with Barbie doll heads in them so that a lady could knit the train of her wedding dress, the whole bottom of her wedding dress from them. And I've made a lot of just different yarns for people that were really out there. That makes me happy, because I think that's what, you know, art really is when you just crack that mold, throw it away, and you do something that people question. I used to think it was funny, like how sometimes when we create art, it can be so like it can be received in so many different ways. So I find there are some people who are absolutely horrified by my Barbie doll yarn. Like they actually look at me like I'm some kind of a bad person for doing it. It's very interesting. I don't get offended. I mean, I do if they're rude to me. But I also speak my mind. I've never been a person to just like ignore rudeness at all. I try to meet people where they are with the same kind of energy, but you know, coming from a slightly better perspective, I think, one that is of just, I don't know how to explain it, but like I will never have anyone trample on me again in my life. I will always stand up for who I am, and you know, if I dish out respect, which I do, then it should be mutual. But respect is earned, it is not expected, right? So that's how we make sure we protect ourselves, by having boundaries. So I have had people look at me like, what is wrong with you? And I've even had people like grab yarn and walk up to me and, you know, basically like question my my morality or something. And I usually laugh and say, are you okay? Because that's truly my question is, you know, how can a yarn make you so upset? You must have a hard time navigating life if yarn upsets you so much. But yeah, it's interesting. And I think that that's what tells us we're creating art. We're creating something that elicits emotion, and it's healthy, really. Even though it can be unkind and it can be uncomfortable, it's actually healthy to have those experiences. I think that they prepare you for all that tough stuff that you have to deal with in life. You know, unfortunately, that I'm not a big supporter of this concept of expecting people to have like lots of resilience in life or something, you know, no matter what they're dealt. But I do believe we need some degree of resilience because it's just reality. So it's nice to have those gentle and unimportant kind of topics discussed to help you grow as a person. Yeah. Oh, I love these so far. They're so cute. They're going to be so pretty in the yarn. When I get the yarn spun, I will post a picture of it on Instagram. If you're looking for my Instagram, it is Studioloo on Instagram as well. I do have a second Instagram account that's called Moonbee Books. I do have both linked in the description box below. What I post to Moonbee Books are just my little sneak peeks and, you know, snippets of journal related work that I'm doing that doesn't really belong on my business account because it's not, you know, kind of finished. And yeah. Okay. 3 to go. And it looks like I need one more piece of fabric, which is okay because I have some right here. That one actually looks a little short, so I'm going to replace it and throw that in my raggedy scrappy bin. Oops. Okay. Yeah, but back to the topic of Russia. I was so happy to see so many Russian people protesting in the streets, not wanting war and supporting Ukraine. That was really, really heartwarming and lovely. And I think it's a true reflection of the majority of the Russian people and honestly the whole world. I don't think this is even an attack from Russia. I feel like this is a very personal, dangerous Putin initiative. It's very little to do with people in general, like most wars. It's very little to do with society and the rest of us. It's usually the politicians. And yep. There we go. Try to get this curly little bit here. We have a little bit of plant material. Get rid of that. I don't like to leave any of these little bits in if there's little bits of plant because they can be a little spiky. It's brambles and things that sheep get into, so and if it has survived the washing and dyeing and all of that, the picking process, whoops, I forgot to tie a knot, then it's definitely some kind of a gnarly plant because otherwise it would have just been washed away. So there we go. And then yesterday I started to hear from work about the return to the office brouhaha that they are beginning. I know I sound very negative and cynical today. I promise that's not who I am as a person, but I think we all feel, about certain things. We have our kind of logical policies for our lives, and this one is mine. I just feel kind of like, I don't know. I've been a manager for so many years, but I've never been the kind of person who believes just in the way that we do a job is we make sure people are bums in seats. I believe really, it's about getting the job done. Is the job getting done? Then I really don't care when you're at work, and I really don't care where you're working from. I really don't. It doesn't matter. Are you getting the job done? Is the customer happy, or is the objective met? That's really all I could care about. But there's this whole thing that I think is just a bit of a result of capitalism. It's just the idea that, you can only collaborate, in an office when you're all together sharing your creative ideas, and it's just so much silly and untrue rhetoric. It really is. We've been working at home for 3 years practically, and do you mean that we didn't collaborate at all for 3 years, even though we've had so much success? It's just silly to me. Really all about the future of working and feeling first of all, a lot of my team is totally international. So if I went into the office, nobody I actually directly work with is going to be there. So there's truly no purpose to me being there. So, at this rate, we're just asking people to potentially put their health at risk and go to work and clog up the highways with extra traffic that doesn't need to be there and generate extra greenhouse gases and, just do everything for no reason. I also think there are some people in most corporate environments who do need the physical building because there could be lots of reasons. There could be work reasons, such as, they have to do physical work in an office that, requires them to maintain equipment or something like that, or do security things that are physical. And then there's also some people who have personal circumstances why working at home doesn't work for them. So I think the best answer is a hybrid model that you don't get too pushy about. Some people, they don't have a home environment that works very well for them for working, and I respect that. But I think for those who are comfortable and functional at home, just let them be. Let them be. There's no need to make a bunch of silly assumptions guided by politicians rather than medical people. It's all very silly to me. Just going to sweep off my desk here. I keep trying to decide if I want to do anything with this desk or if I just want to keep letting it get more and more grungy. If I want to clean it and stain it, I don't know. Okay, so we'll get off all those topics maybe for a bit, and now I'm going to go into the next step, which is turning this into a yarn embellishment that I'm going to spin into my yarn. So I need, how many did I make? Did I make 8 or 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Okay. So that's the typical amount of embellishments of that size that I like to add per yarn. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking this roving. This is merino and cashmere, and it is luscious. It's so soft. So I'm just going to twist it or draft it a little and then fold it over and pop it through this nice big eye of this darning needle. And so now we have a threaded fiber. Then I'm going to find a secure piece at the back to just poke it through all of the layers. And this is where having a tool comes in handy, which I think I put in here today. I just got this new container for my desk to hold all my bits and bobs, and instead of using these little mason jars. So I tend to, in sewing, use a lot of these kind of tools to just help me get the fibers and the threads and whatnot through. I also use these tools in embroidery because sometimes it's really hard to get your thread through. So there we go, we have one. Okay. And what else? I have to hopefully ship packages today if I can get to my courier. I think I probably can. So if you've ordered from the shop, it will go out today, maybe a little later in the day. And then the other thing I need to do is take back my library books because they were due yesterday, but I forgot to go to the library. So I'm in trouble. But the nice thing is our whole region just got rid of late fees, which essentially is a great thing for me because I've been a tardy returner of books since I was a child. And I can easily renew them online. I can. It's just like you just have to log in and click the renew button. But I always just get so tied up in other things and I don't do it. But I mean, there's never a situation where like a book is like been placed on hold and they really need it back. It's just, you know, mostly these days I'm getting random kids books for my daughter, mostly for our homeschooling and reading. And so it's not like I'm taking the only, you know, bestseller the library has in my city or something. So in a lot of ways I do feel like library fees are archaic and unnecessary, but if they support the library then I'm fine with it. Because then I'm doing crime for good. But that's okay. Here we go. These are so cute. But yeah, I could definitely see these little bits on a bulb pin or as a little cluster in a journal. Just don't make the fiber too thick. The locks, you could also use yarn for this. Just you know, scrumple it up a little and you'll have a really fun flower. You could also use like lace for this. Make a lace flower. Or even fabric scraps, like lengths of fabric. There we go. You can hear my children running around upstairs. This is why I really am hoping to get outside today. These guys need to burn some energy and I'd love to take them sledding. But I don't want to be on the road if the roads aren't cleaned up, because it was really kind of blustery this morning. I was a little worried. My husband went to work. He goes to work really early in the morning, and so I just was texting him at like 4:30 and 5 and like, are you there? Are you okay? Is everything okay? Because the roads are so bad sometimes. Because it was like, first it was kind of wet, then it was snowing, and then it was blowing, so it was lots of snow drifts, and that can really make the roads dangerous quickly. And you know, the thing is, it doesn't matter how well you drive. Well, it does, but it doesn't, sort of. It doesn't matter because all those other people are on the road too. And I think where I live, there's a lot of people who seem to really struggle with driving, and maybe that's true for all of us, but yeah, I always worry about every time I've been in. Unfortunately, I have been in several not at fault car accidents where people have come and hit me, and I'm a little traumatized. For a long time, I just didn't even want to be in the car. I actually stopped going to work in person for a while after the last time it happened because it was very scary. We were at a complete stop on kind of a major road, and we were behind a school bus, thankfully about 2 car lengths, and a truck that was driven by a night shift worker who fell asleep at the wheel. It hit the car behind us, and it was these 2 sweet ladies, these like lovely older ladies, and they were actually carpooling to jury duty. They both had jury duty, and it hit their car and it sent them sailing into the back of our car. And at the time we had a small hatchback. Thankfully, my husband is a good driver, so he handled it properly, and also we were far enough away from the bus that we didn't end up getting slammed into the back of it. And that event gave me so much perspective about leaving at least a car length of distance when you stop behind another car, because you can never account for someone hitting you and how that could propel you into the back of another car. And, you know, especially if it's a larger vehicle like a bus, yeah, I hate to think of what might have been if things had gone differently, but it was a little crazy. I just, you know, checked on my husband, made sure he was okay. We didn't have kids at the time, and I, you know, jumped out of the car and ran to the middle car, the 2 ladies, and they were both very shaken up. They were both crying. I essentially used my, you know, talk to them, calm them down, made sure that, you know, they weren't experiencing any symptoms and that they just kind of stayed still for a moment, and then I called insurance, and I got all 3 cars insurance all sorted out, and I got the police there, and I got the tow truck because the other 2 cars were not drivable. Ours were. Yeah, it was a really scary experience. I felt bad for the man who caused the accident from falling asleep. I think he, you know, certainly had no bad intentions, and he was very, very sorry and scared, and I think he felt horrible. And the 2 ladies were so sweet. They were all worried about getting in trouble, but they weren't at jury duty, and I said, I'm pretty sure you'll be fine. Just call the courthouse. So yeah, it was one of those experiences where you just, you know, the human spirit can kind of come together, and you can just comfort each other and like not worry about the carnage. Anyways, I did a lot of chatting. I did a little bit of, I wouldn't say political, but some may feel that way. I did a little bit of good omen to the Ukraine, sorry. It's contagious that people are calling it the Ukraine. It's Ukraine. It's like saying the London. That it's weird. I don't know why people are saying that, but it's rubbing off on me. So yeah, I'm just wanting to send very peaceful, good vibes into the earth today, and hope that everything gets better. And thank you for hanging out with me today. Sorry if it was a little philosophical and all those things, but also not sorry. This is who I am, and I hope you'll stick around because I truly do love you. So bye for now, guys. Have a great day.